two, three, let's go! Hello everyone and welcome back to Adjacent with Jace, the tabletop interview review show for the Adventures of Authority, brought to you by the Black Tower Stories. I am of course your host Jace, and with me tonight is the stoic, proud, emerging from a shroud, shooting the thickest arrows as the line of sight narrows, watching you in bed as he plays Vulred. Here to give an interview a stab, it's the stealthy Raab. Welcome. I see we're wearing the same shirt. So one of us might have to change at some point, as I am a floating head, or we're both doing our best impersonation of Kilmo on Tuesdays.
Okay, so there's three things there. First off, great read at Kilmo. That's perfect. Second, if we're having t-shirt issues, then maybe we just both take off of our shirts.
As long as that doesn't show the nips, we're both good there.
But third, that was a beautiful intro that I can't even try to match.
Well, that's why I write my own introductions, because making puns and wordplay gets Sean angry. This is why I like doing it the most. So, thank you for showing up. We will be covering the latest chapter of Adventures in Authority, Chapter 7, titled A Path of Opportunity, which is also a slight play of words. And looks like the chat's already kind of going, and I did write thick arrows with 2 C's on my notes. That way I would know how to properly enthuse it.
Okay, no, I appreciate that.
Has to be
really,
so.
the devil's in the details, and if you're not writing thick with 2 C's, you might as well be a boomer.
What's the point of the joke? Then it's literally talking about a thick arrow. Thero. No. Is it a thero? What the hell's a thero?
Thero. It's like a pharaoh, but
Dude.
with a T.
The thickest of pharaohs. Let me
We like
these
thick.
thick boys. Itty bitty boys.
That's a Lizzo song.
I know.
Oh.
Well, again, welcome. Thank you for coming in. And as always, if you guys have questions, feel free to ask them in the chat, and our moderators will gather them up and ask me them on the side, and I will try to incorporate them as best as possible. Use the tag Q4 at Vulred, and then put any kind of thing on there. If you have a question for me, same thing, or just scream it really loud, and if you live close enough, I might be able to hear it. But we'll go on to first question, which is always my questions, which I like to start off with a nice softball for all the first-time guests, and that is, how do you think these first sessions are going? We're 7 in. We're 7 deep in the purple. How do you think it's going?
I think it's going pretty good. I mean, granted, this is the first actual full session that I've been a player as a part of. I've been around others. I've done a one shot or two, and kind of going in with not, I don't want to say like low expectations, but just not having a full like idea of how things should pan out. It's gone very smooth. It seems like we got a good group of players. Everyone is really dug into their characters and what they're trying to do, and it seems to be like a really fun sort of group, and how we're just trying to kind of figure out this first part of the story.
It's about the generic one that everyone kind of gets, that we're just trying to figure out what our characters are trying to do, and I see you just come up with the randomest of things.
Well, if you don't want a generic answer, it's trash. We're terrible.
There we go. Hot takes.
Like, I don't know, like, what this fucking Excel person thing is doing, but she's just giving away everyone's shit.
Trying to take other people's things, too?
Yeah, Gandor's annoying. Gorbek's annoying. Our DM's annoying. It sucks. I'm kidding.
No, we'll clip that. When I make a highlight of this, it's just going to be you saying those things.
It's going to be on repeat. You're going to clip out sound bites where I could be like, I could say something really nice. Like, yeah, Eric is such a great DM. It's like going so well. And it's just all the great shit he comes up with is great. And you could cut it out to be like, Eric is shit.
Just take all the great parts. Like, Eric is shit.
Yeah. Just cut it all out and make me say all the bad things.
Of course, if you said it, I wouldn't have to cut any of it. I could just clip that entire part. But on to the next question. I will pull a question from the audience to see what they have for us. For Vulred, from one of our Tater moderators. On a scale from 1 to 9 hells, how hot is Vulred under the mask?
Ooh, I mean, that's difficult because at this point we're not really sure exactly how Vulred just really feels. Just in general, let alone how he like senses as a sentient being. It could be very uncomfortable, or it could be almost kind of like a Terry Chavo situation where he just doesn't really register. There's really like some options here, and let's just say we might find out.
New theory, Vulred is just a sentient mask. That's what I'm going with here.
Actually, he's a robot, and it's like a little micro SD chip in the mask. If you hit it with an axe, he's just gonna shut off like an android.
We'll just pose like a complicated question for him and it'll shut down, which you kind of do in the campaign, so that does lay into the area that you might be a robot when you can't answer the questions correctly.
That's true. Like, so I think Vulred right now is kind of like the meme equivalent of like asking a computer to like answer the like reCAPTCHA, where it's like, I'm not a robot. It's like that bead of sweat, just like, can he push the little button? Like, is he a robot? Is he alive?
It's a Vision trying to do anything online.
Right.
Like, Wanda, come in here and click this button for me.
Yeah, but no, like in serious, so it probably really sucks being in all of those like robes and masks. Like IRL, that would suck.
You're in the Bahamas. That's awful.
But like IRL, right now I would rather be in the Bahamas all robed up in masked than not to be in the Bahamas at all.
Just gross.
As long as I don't try to kidnap a kid in real life.
That's the first step, though. It's the only way to do it. I will jump into a stat question for you, because this is the one that I wanted to jump into quickly, because, man, did I find it hilarious when I was going over the stats. In the last fight, out of Gorbek, Gander, and Calum, place those three in order of who did the most damage to least. I know you're worried about yourself during it, as you should have been, because you got the shit knocked out of you. But those three in order, from highest damage to lowest damage.
So I have to think really hard on this, because this one's honestly tough, because I feel like this is sort of like you're setting me up for something that like I'm not going to think about, because basically, didn't Gorbek just basically run in there and be like out of breath before he could do anything? Gandor threw a fireball that did something, and then Caleb used a sleep spell that I'm not gonna lie, I just kind of paying attention, and so I don't know exactly how much damage that actually caused. So I'm gonna go, because I have to come up with an answer. I'm gonna flip what I think it actually is, and I'm gonna say somehow Gorbek did the most, followed by Gandor, and then Caleb.
That is incorrect, and this was a trick question. Because I know you think possibly the sleep spell, but the sleep spell does no damage. It just makes you fall asleep based off of hit points. But that was 27 points that knocked out 2 people. The trick of this question was Caleb did the most damage with 6, and the other 2 did 0. So as long as you put Caleb first, you would have gotten it right. As Gandor and Gorbek did jack shit.
Okay, I felt like I knew that, but you really did trick me there. Maybe next time be like, of which of these 3 sucked the most? That would have been easy.
It's like, well, I know Caleb did something, so I'll just put him at the bottom.
You know what though? I gotta like hand it to both of them though. Like I love the persistence of just like the mental imagery of like Gorbek really just like jacked up to like go fuck some shit up and just like run up there and just be like like out of breath, and then like Gandor finally just like, yeah, like let's fucking go, and just like can't.
But
so
the fight's over. Like, shit.
Yeah, so I appreciate that. But you know they got it. They'll get some damage going, I believe.
Caleb tripled his damage output by dealing 6. That was a bonus a little bit there because he had only done 2 so far. Damage isn't everything. Caleb does a lot of other things, but damage is what kills people. So
he's taken like, it seems like he's taken like 3 times the amount of damage that he's given out at this point.
He might have. I might have to look into that one because he was knocked unconscious by a chicken, and he's only done 8 points of damage total.
Was it a chicken or was it a cock?
It was a rock hard cock. That's what it was.
Was it thick?
It wasn't very thick. It was a lean cock. Oh. It had a slight bend to it. We'll go to a question from the chat again because they're always fun. Question for Vulred. I believe this was from Spars. What was the inspiration for V's personality?
You know, on some level, I wanted to, just being someone new to the game and new to role-playing, I did want to pick someone that I could grow with and maybe not necessarily be the most talkative, the most smart about my surroundings, but going from my session 0 to like actually like the first session, like I ended up being way dumber than I ever thought I would. It's a feeling. I just like to play that character that is just so like in a way confident of their own surroundings, but being completely like anti that. Very much kind of the personal manifestation of someone just being plucked up out of their environment and just getting thrown into a completely like chaotic mess of a story.
Yeah, that sounds about right for Vulred. The humor you use for Vulred is that nice dry humor that comes across as I don't know if you're joking or you're being serious, and that's the best kind of dry humor there is. And I feel that's more like your personal humor because I've seen you play in some one-shots, and that kind of transfers over against everything, which is hilarious. Because now I think I've seen this type of humor now played in 3 different ways. All of them are different because they're all played by a different character, but it's the same humor.
And and that's definitely probably a really good like personal quirk. I have really dry humor. I mean, I also have really over the top humor at times, but I'll say those things that just kind of like I see the look on people's faces of like, is he being like for real right now or is he joking? So I get that whole like, you know, in real life I have to tell people sometimes like, oh no, that was totally a joke. Like I'm not being serious.
Emotionless, just no emotion coming from your face.
Yeah, like when people tell me like something bad happened, if I'm having a bad day at work and something really bad happens and someone breaks bad news to me, I'll just be like, "Oh, beautiful." And they're like, "No, that's not good." I'm like, "Well, yeah, obviously. Like I get that."
It's like he's having an emotional breakdown. He doesn't know how to process it. We'll go to one of my questions. As I kind of touched on this. You've played in a few one-shots before. What was the process of picking the rogue instead of one of the classes you'd played before? Because I know you played a monk and a ranger.
Yes. You know, going into a full campaign, it's so it's interesting because since I know I'm playing with a more established group, I have a little more of a personal feeling that I want to make sure what I'm doing kind of fits the group, but I also don't want to overthink it. So there's a lot of things I took into account of I want to be able to kind of pick up and run with a group of veterans who've been doing this for a while, but I also don't want to overthink every little detail and try to like, you know, over perfect like my first campaign. So to be honest, I didn't take a lot of time picking the class. I more or less just kind of did a little research. I read into Rogue and I said, hey, you know what? I think I can do this. And this looks like it'll be really cool. So that and I drive a Nissan Rogue. So that kind of felt nice.
There it is. Like, I will drive myself crazy and I will play it in this campaign. Yeah. Perfect.
That, and I like the whole sort of kind of idea of that like sneaky sort of person in a way, because that could go in a lot of directions. That can really teeter between like the sneaky good, sneaky bad.
Sneaky, don't know what you're looking at because you're wearing a mask the entire time.
Yeah, sneaky is actually a new part of the alignment chart now. It's sneaky good, sneaky neutral, chaotic sneaky.
It's really hard to see it because it's in between the other parts of the alignment chart. Like, it's hidden. Like right behind,
in the middle,
in the sneaky part. I will go on to another one of my questions because there's a whole bunch of questions from the chat. I'm going to try to get through some of mine real quick. How does it feel to be what most people would call the fan favorite?
Well, as a human being, I am a Leo, which does mean that I really like attention, but only in the right way. If you give me attention that I don't want, I will hate it. But I really do like the attention. It's fun. It's nice to know that something that I'm doing, which is fun and stupid, is being enjoyed by others. You know, I don't want to necessarily like. It's interesting because after getting some of that feedback, it's easy to start thinking about like, oh, well, there's people watching this. I need to like act into that. But you know, I'm resisting that urge and just being like, no, just kind of ignore that and just keep being the stupid self that I am and the even stupider self that Vulred is, or might be, because we still don't know. Is he really that stupid? Probably.
Nah, he didn't go to public school. He's fine.
Did he? But you know, we don't even know if he went to school, let alone a private one.
It's true. He is a mystery, wrapped in an enigma, hidden in a box of Malamars. Anyway, we'll carry on to a question from the chat now, as I don't mix these up. Oh, let's go to this one. This is cool. Question for Vulred. Will you ever attend public school?
I mean, I don't know. We have a child with us in the group right now, so I think it kind of depends. Like, does Milo need to brush up on some like writing? How is his algebra going? Are we even going to look into some more of the like subjects like that? I mean, we might show up at a school, and if we do, would that count?
Oh, so you mean like go to public school, not take a class in public school?
I mean,
sit in for a teacher study.
Did the question say take a class or just go to school?
He said, will you attend?
Oh, okay.
Depends what you think attend means.
But I mean, he probably won't. I mean, he's probably too cool for school, public, private.
The street
whichever.
Smarts. School, the rule. School of cool.
He is pretty cool.
And you could be a child too, so we don't really know either. Like, we don't know how old you are. You could be 17 for an elf. That's basically an infant.
Yeah, that's actually a really good thing that you mentioned, because I could totally recreate his character and not even be of school age, which is why he's so stupid. I like it.
Just really good at killing people. Okay.
Yeah.
Kicked you out because you got too violent.
Yeah, no remorse.
Let's go on to another question here. So, what made you choose the rogue? All right, haha, got that one. Never mind. What other character concepts might you have considered?
Ooh, that's actually a tough one, because...
Was rogue the only one you were going with, or was there like, I'm going to play a wizard?
See, I don't know, like, my creative process on a lot of stuff can be one track, so when I kind of, like, look through things as, like, levels, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be, like, this, and it's like, okay, what's the next thing? So I kind of, like, drove down into this without thinking, like, just big picture of, like, all the possibilities. I would say, just from, like, a playing point of view, I think it'd be cool to be a barbarian, like...
Yeah.
The whole just like weapons and stuff, if you're able to actually, you know, fight someone and like hit them and not just like flail around pissed off rage.
Hey, I hit lots of people. The problem is no one ever hits me, and it gets kind of... I have all these hit points to lend, and no one wants them.
That sounds like a therapy session. Just like, you know, Exal is just like, I just want to attack all these people, but no one's ever thinking, should I attack Exal?
It's like, I'm leaving myself wide open for you. Come on, get this nice hunk of meat. Nope, just go attack.
Everyone wants to attack the wizard, but not me.
We're both not wearing anything. Come on.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess like I don't know. I would definitely... I think a fighter would be cool. You know, I don't know. That's a really good question. It kind of stumps me a little bit, because that's probably all I got.
I recommend playing a blood hunter and then just being confused for several months.
What if you know what? Okay, so I like to be really ridiculous. I like ridiculous concepts for the sake of being ridiculous. So what if like my next character is going to be a person inside whatever world I'm playing in, who is obsessed with like role-playing games in the game, and they're trying to turn everything happening into the game to their own personal campaign that they're DMing. So they're like DMing a campaign in a campaign, but they're not the DM of that campaign.
It's like they're like a game developer in the fantasy world. It's like, hey guys, you want to sit down for a couple hours and play this game I'm making?
Yeah, basically. And they're trying to convince everyone to play their game, but everyone's getting pissed off because they're trying to equate everything in the campaign to like the campaign they're trying to create. So it's like Inception, but shittier.
Like, no one wants to play your stupid game, man. Aww.
But that could be a cool concept that would get old after like 2 sessions.
Yeah, but it'd be fun. And you bring it up later on, like way later. It's like you have all this new material to work on. It's like, okay, I think I perfected it.
And then like in the very end, everyone finds out that the DM had been like in cahoots with this one player the whole time, and you actually were playing their campaign.
He had secret information for like plot points in the campaign, but no one wanted to play his games. Like, fine, yeah, I don't get the information.
So he left the group, and everyone died because they didn't want to play the game.
Shouldn't have went into that cave. I mean, it clearly stated right here in my rule set. Okay, well, on to the next question. This one from the chat. I should probably read it first to make sure I don't repeat one I've already asked. Let's go with the one. How much of the RP for Vulred is your plan for the character, and how much is it just because you got lost in the sauce of the new player?
You know, there's definitely... That's a good question, and a lot of it is... I don't think I've done anything intrinsically outside of what I've planned so far, with exception of I'm stupider. I definitely have meant to... I went into this wanting to be a little more eloquent sounding and out of touch as opposed to just stupid. But other than this, my whole plan was to sort of not be as... story driven. I'm trying to not force myself early and just kind of let things come to me, and that was always sort of And that's part of his story too. I don't want to like let anything out, but there's clearly, wink wink, a reason why, like, you know, he might not be forthcoming and wanting to be kind of like slow burning with some information. So that is definitely part of the story, and that's kind of playing out to a little of the lack of you know, opening up.
There's a comment just now that leads me to think, I have a question for you. If we pushed you in the water, would that be easy for you to swim or hard for you to swim?
Shoot, I don't even know the answer to that. Like, are you trying to ask if I'm a witch? Because witches sink.
I was asking if you're actually an otter.
Oh, ooh. I mean, like body size, probably. I don't know if he's hairy though.
Well, I know you showed your arm. Well, I know, Zal doesn't know, that you showed your arm in game, and so it was, I guess, kind of
There's something
creepy.
going on. There's something going. I'm not an otter, but you know what? Maybe that's my next character after the DM
Kills you.
campaign. My next character will be an otter who is stuck in a person's body.
Just loves shellfish.
Or an otter who's obsessed with humans and constantly post memes of humans doing cute stuff.
With a soldier background?
Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
I like that. That's a good idea. We should probably play that. Like, there'd probably an artificer, an otter, artificer, an otterficer.
Yeah, like you know how like people draw like cute things of like otters doing like funny stuff, like, oh, he's dressed up as like a soldier. Like, just imagine that artwork of just like a regular person dressed up as a soldier. Be like, oh my god, look at this cute person dressed up as a soldier. It's like, what are you talking about?
It's just a human.
Yeah, this makes no sense.
It's just a painting. There's nothing weird about this at all. Let's go on to another question here. Okay. Well, I don't know how this question. No plan survives contact with the enemy. How was your character changed from what you originally envisioned? I think we went over this. You went with basically the same, but kind of more of a dumber note.
Yeah, definitely dumber. Less eloquent than intended. Same sort of drinking problem, which, let's be honest, it's not a huge drinking problem yet, but there's definitely some times where he probably doesn't need to be requesting the cognac, and other times where he probably should ask for more.
I likely just ask for cognac all the time.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't like cognac?
I mean, it was like 7 a.m. for one of those. Probably should start with water or something. All right, well, now we will go on. Well,
Just to be fair, no one's awake. He could have been drinking water. I just don't know.
Or he could have been drinking more cognac.
That's true.
He's just getting drunk, watching over Arthur. Another little quick stat here. The first 22 of the campaign was by Izal. How many 22s were rolled by players in the last session?
Last session. Okay. To be fair, wasn't the first 22 in the campaign rolled by Eric? Because I thought it was
Eric
one of the NPCs.
Eric
You're saying the... Oh, okay.
Eric is hardly a person.
Okay. You should say nice things about the DM. You never know if he wants to kill you.
Nah, I've known him long enough. He's got to try to hit me first, and he hasn't even bothered. I'm a little disappointed.
I think there was 3 22s.
That is correct. 3 22s. Spar's in the chat with 3 as well.
22.
Only 3 22s. There was, I think, 2 by the DM, but those don't count. He's not real people.
We don't like those.
On to another question by the chat, because their questions are better than mine anyway, and I'll forget them if I don't ask them. Being your first major campaign and being streamed on Twitch, do you have any hesitations, and if so, how did you overcome them? Because everyone is watching you. Remember, our videos get about 100 views.
Yeah, I don't think there's necessarily any hesitations. Rather, I don't have an issue being like open and goofy and definitely, I don't have issues saying stupid stuff. Rather, it would be more, every now and then there's that whole idea of like, oh, if people are watching, it's now more of a show just outside of our group. And it's trying to just stay, because, I'll be honest, there's some times where, yeah, like you want to show off for like more people, right?
Check
just
how
like,
funny I can be.
Yeah, check how funny. And I think that's fine, and I think there's nothing wrong with that. But I don't feel like I'm really changing anything. I'm just kind of thinking about it every now and then, but I'm not letting it really like hinder what's going on. But then, at times, I don't think it's anything during the actual session where I'm sort of like, I don't want to sound stupid. But they're definitely, in the chat, like if there's something I don't know being a new player, I'm not saying verbally like, hey guys, tell me about this short rest. I'm like, click, 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 click.
What I do?
Yeah, so, but that's also like, okay, I'm trying to like not take away from what else is going on with the programming and just kind of, figure it out, which to this point I have.
Do it very well, except for when you deliberately get 2 inches away from your camera. It's like, that's clearly playing to something.
Okay, well, so...
But it's in character, so I like it.
That is in character. That's playing to the group. It definitely helps having more people, but, like... there's also kind of a weird... maybe not weird's the right word, but it feels like... if I'm not doing something and I know I'm not being vocal, I can still communicate in like non-verbal ways.
Yeah.
So
essentially, we're playing D&D, but with each other, and like we can see each other. You can see me in a very tiny window we play though.
Exactly.
But like everyone sees each other because this is as close as we can get to playing in person because space. So it's important. Like if we were playing at a table, you'd have those little side conversations. You'd be making weird faces or eye contact with people. So it's essentially the same thing. Only you have to do it with a camera that other people can see you.
Yeah. And I would say I'm not doing anything particular just because of the stream. I'm doing it to play with the whole medium of like doing it via webcam, but also having the additional people to like go and like get all up.
How are my pores?
Grill. Yeah. How's my face looking?
Pretty good.
Do you like my glasses?
Nice. It's very nice.
Yeah. Thank you.
Your David Boreanaz shirt. That's very nice.
Wait, what? David Boreanaz?
It's a joke for Aurora Borealis. So.
That's a great meme, by the way.
Yeah.
That like top meme of like 2018.
The Aurora Borealis. Let's go to another question. They're starting to pile up. I gotta answer these quicker. We're halfway through the show, people. All right.
Lightning round.
As a new player, what do you find is the biggest roadblock of playing D&D?
A lot of learning stuff in terms of like how things interact. So I like board games, and so card games, for instance, sort of like Magic the Gathering, I hate because it seems like you have to know like every single card and what the effect of that card is and what that means. So like anytime I try to play, it would be like, well, actually this card's negated by that because this thing and that and it just like just kind of like explodes my mind. Obviously like Magic and D&D are not the same, but there's certain times where I'm like trying to figure out.
Sometimes they are the same if you're playing certain campaigns.
Okay. But there's like figuring out like the details and figuring out how things interact. And I'm a very kinetic learner. So like if I sat down and started reading through a lot of things, if I couldn't apply it in that moment, it's almost sort of like not worth reading. So I'm kind of having to, I don't want to be completely like, oh, I'm not going to research what I'm doing. So there's that fine line of trying to figure out things as I like level up, and then letting other things just be like learning opportunities.
I find with D&D, it's easier to, if you don't know every rule, which I don't know every rule either as Eric, is if you need to know something, look that up. Don't look up everything. Just like, does sneak attack work if I'm prone? No, because I have disadvantage if I'm prone. Okay. And that my key is like, okay, disadvantage at all is going to fuck over a sneak attack. So let's keep that in mind. Something like that. Look up one thing. Don't look up a bunch of things.
Advantage is pretty cool. I like that whole advantage rule. Let's keep that up.
This constant advantage. Like,
Yeah,
is there a way we can do that?
Yeah, Oprah, you get advantage. You get advantage. You get advantage.
Hey, I'm a
We all get
level 2
advantage.
barbarian. I get advantage. You should multi-class over the barbarian. Get a couple levels in there.
I would love to say I know how that works.
It's pretty difficult, actually. You're not statted really in the same way.
What if, sorry, I know there's a lot of questions, but that also makes me think, what if like a campaign got together where everyone just tried to explicitly like make the worst possible characters ever? Just like complete like paradoxes of levels.
Oh, you mean like me in any one shot?
There we go.
It's like, let's play a terrible character. Yay. I'm a barbarian and I dump strength. Okay. You do
it.
Oh, let's go to a Momo. It's just Tater in every campaign. Let's go on to another question from the chat. Question from Vulred. How is your experience on being in this game compared to your expectations?
You know, I always there were some I guess my expectations were limited to going into this. I wanted to make sure I had a foundation of my character, which I do have, even though it's deviated a little bit. So a lot of the expectation that I was really driving towards was getting that part right. That way I could start off at a good spot to kind of figure out. And I've kind of gone into it knowing that I'm just like learning and figuring stuff out. And just from that, I feel like I'm doing that. So the expectation has been good. I feel like I've been figuring stuff out, having fun, because that's a big thing, is making sure that, you know, it's enjoyable, because, you know, it would suck if I weren't having a good time.
Oh yeah. I made a powerful character and I know how the rules work, but it's boring as shit and you don't want to ever show up and it sucks. Like, no, fun first. Actually,
Exactly.
everyone having fun and you having fun. Because if no one else is having fun but you're having fun, then it's a whole other issue.
But then again, if I'm having fun and no one else is having fun, fuck everyone else.
That's a way of thinking about it.
Yeah.
Like, well, they all got TPK'd. Well, that's a them problem. I'm
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Check out all this
I-
cool loot.
I'm fine and I have cognac, so
Hell
screw
yeah.
'em.
Let's hit another question up. Oh, the question for me. Can we get some insight on how Izal perceives Vulred? Sure. Izal basically feels almost the same about everyone in the party right now. Is that other than Gander, which Izal has a history with, everyone's pretty much just kind of strangers. Like, you're all from a different part of the world than she's from. So it's like, Izal knows elves. You're acting weird for an elf. Like, so that's just odd. So it's like, there's something odd about you, but like, he's also not gonna judge somebody off their first impressions. Hell, helped adopt a damn kobold for one reason. There's a goblin running around biting people. It's, as long as they're not doing anything crazy, like, she's got no issue with them. So she's just trying to figure out what's with everybody and not gonna assume anything unless someone does something really stupid, and then assumptions will start happening. Gander jumping off the bridge, kind of yelled at him for that, but that's because she knows Gander.
That was a fun moment, by the way. That was a really good time.
Just YOLOing yourself off a bridge, great plan.
Yeah, I mean, basically jumping off of. I mean, that's sort of like he also fireballed and like got struck damage, right?
Yeah, he got the big hit. I think it's like 15 or 16 damage on it.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's like a Scorsese movie. Like, someone jumps off of a bridge and just like, except for the whole like landing awkwardly. And, like,
The plan wasn't to hit the ground. The plan was to grab the tree, and that's like,
details.
Yeah, I should have worried about the landing more. I just jump after him. Yeah, I don't think there's enough between the characters for Rizal to have a solid feeling about anybody right now. Just because there's just a lot shit going on. I'm a little upset that people were giving Rizal a hard time about trying to return objects. I understand the longbow. You can use a longbow. That's fine. My thought was like, at what point does it become grave? Is it grave robbing and like searching for an artifact? It's like,
hey, like, I don't know, but like usually when people piss off gods, like, we don't really care about the whole bodies.
I think
like,
about it as an accident. Believe me, someone in this campaign is going to piss off a god at some point, and it's going to be in the party.
Yeah, but I could be a hypocrite later if I want to.
Yeah, that's a Vulred thing for sure.
He doesn't understand what honor is. I mean, do you expect me to?
I think you mentioned you don't know about honor.
That we know of.
Different kind of, that weird elf honor.
Yeah.
Next question. Have you dropped any hints about your backstory in the game to the players or the viewers may have missed? I know it's that arm thing. That's all I know.
Yeah, the main thing was showing that he has some sort of skin ailment going on, where his arm is basically scaly and green. But in terms of like actual backstory, probably not. I mean, I think there hasn't been anything as direct as that. I mean, obviously he's spoken to having a taste of fine items, cognac, things that would assume a more wealthy lifestyle. But he's not walking around like, look at this fucking gold encrusted like longbow, bitch. Like, he's not really flexing or like anything like that.
Check out this generic ass longbow.
What if he takes off his mask and he's actually someone from Jersey Shore?
Mike, the situation here. Paulie D. You're Snooky. No, you're Snooky.
Yeah, well, he's actually Snooky. Love it. This is the best.
That explains the skin condition.
Yeah, I'm changing all of my backstory. Watch out, Eric. We're gonna have to have a call after this. I'm gonna run by 10,000 extra ideas that I need to fit into this.
Was it Vulred D? V-Red? What's your Jersey Shore name? V-Red probably. Hey, V-Red, how's that skin condition coming?
I feel like it'd have to be something really stupid. It would just be like, yeah, I'm R for red, because it's short for Vulred.
You didn't go out. You didn't get invited to a lot of those Jersey Shore parties.
No, I wasn't cool enough.
That awkward guy in the background who just leans against the wall with a drink. Got my cognac, yeah.
Yeah. It's sort of like when they had, what's his face? Sorry, this is a total tangent right here.
I've seen a lot of Jersey Shore.
Remember when they got, what's his face? Michael Cera all dressed up. Have you seen that video? They did a Jersey Shore makeover, like actually the Jersey Shore people like made over Michael Cera and like spray tanned him, gave him that hair. It's great. God. You should watch it. Supplemental watching. Go watch that video.
I don't know if I would recommend watching any Jersey Shore videos, but if it's got Michael Cera looking like a weirdo, sure.
It's basically Michael Cera being awkward.
That's Michael Cera. Does he just look different?
Groundbreaking. Yes. Yeah.
Michael Cera in awkwardly standing against the wall.
And he wins an Oscar for it.
Yay. Meanwhile, Leonardo DiCaprio is going to get mauled by a fake bear. On to the next question. How do you decide what shirt will be on the stream?
Ooh. It's honestly kind of like a mood sort of situation. I like really colorful things. I like terrible patterns. I like the whole ridiculousness of having like some cinnamon rolls that almost kind of look like titties.
Oops.
Yeah, which
rolls.
was completely accidental. Like going into that, I was not like, oh, I'm about to have some cinnamon roll jugs, but it just happened to be like that, and it's really kind of a stream of consciousness. like tonight, I was just like, I'm going to be the Aurora Borealis, and there really wasn't much thought to it. It just happens.
You should have one time where it's just a completely blank white as your green screen background, but in like one corner there's an image that you only see when you get out of your chair.
Oh, just like awkwardly at times of the stream, just like going like,
There's like
just,
a
leaning over,
a troll face there. Like,
yeah. I almost did think about going on to this tonight and wearing my green shirt, but not actually doing a background and just be like, "What are you talking about? I'm clearly having a background right now."
it's a green background. Yeah.
But also, if we get enough viewers, you could pick my shirt sometime.
Be like
Who
a
knows?
Patreon reward.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Let's do it.
Let's go on to a follow-up to the expectations. Has the DM and the world been close to what you expected? I think that was by the DM. You don't have to answer that truthfully if you don't want to.
No, I will. Let's see. So in terms of the world, again, it's kind of tough judging since haven't been in other campaigns. I mean, it's very clearly something that is very well thought out, detailed, and I mean, I've known going into this that this actual world's been around for like 10 plus years, I believe. So it's super clear that that level of precision and world building's there. I don't think I could be a DM because I'd be like, yeah, they walk into a room, there's some walls, maybe a picture.
What's the picture? What's the picture of? Can I look at the picture?
Like some fruit on it, and yeah, like the lady entire plot point of what we're talking about sitting right there. You want to talk to her?
There's Milady Questgiver over here.
Yeah. So, in I guess just from a DM point of view, kind of what I expected. Eric does a good job at kind of, letting us.
We already answered the question. It was Milady Questgiver. That was the name of her, okay?
What?
It was the question from the chat. It's like, what's her name?
Oh, okay.
It's Milady Questgiver.
Her name's Susan.
Susan B. Questgiver.
Don't ask about her 5 divorces. See, I can do a character if you want, because Susan, she smokes about 1.5 packs of Marlboro Reds every day. She looks at that Cosmo magazine, but she doesn't buy it because she knows it's bullshit, but she wants it to be true. But surroundings and stuff, yeah, they walk into a house, there's like a dog or something, cool, get on with it.
Can I pet the dog?
Of course.
Yes.
Of course. And it's whatever dog you want it to be. I'm not going to decide. You can decide. Oh, speaking of dogs, my dog just ran by. Hey, Trevor. Oh, he's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, in terms of DM, it's kind of what I expected. Again, it's tough since I haven't really been, I've been in one shots with others, but it's almost like having a god telling you things and kind of pushing you in ways. And I just hope he doesn't kill us all, but
that's just modern day. That's every day you walk out the door. Man, hope God doesn't kill us all today.
Shoot, yeah, I was talking about real life there. My bad.
Oops. Realism. That, from what I can see, is the last question from the chat. Finally. Ooh, got through them all. I didn't think we would, but we got through it. Unless our mods missed some and I wasn't paying attention. But now on to the good questions. My questions.
Oh, yeah.
The important ones.
Yes.
Which PC interaction and development are you most looking forward to? Damn, that's a generic one. Fuck.
Ooh, but that's a good one, and I know it's good because it's actually kind of taken me I don't know, because I feel like there's some really, really good sort of chaotic energy going on between me and Gorback. That could be a sitcom right there. Think about just how weird that is, but that's a little too much. I think I think the most interesting one would probably be Gander, because he would be probably the one to just be blunt and be like, "You're weird as fuck," and me just be like, "No, you." So like, I don't know, like it.
That's a good Aaron impersonation.
Somewhat accurate, yeah.
The emphasis on the fuck part was for the
Fuck.
Fuck.
So yeah, I would say those two. I mean, I don't really have any one particular player that I'm kind of thinking on that level right now of like, oh, who do I want? I want to get some good growth going with everyone, and I just hope it's all good.
It's a good answer too. It's a quality answer, not like those bad ones that Bevo was giving me. That's why we didn't put it up, guys. Didn't put Bevo's episode up because they're bad answers.
I want some thick growth.
I want some nice thick growth. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
On to the next one. What's the longest you've got to play in a campaign as a player? I know the answer to this one.
This.
7 sessions.
7 sessions. We did it. We made it this far. We're roughly 2% done, maybe. I don't know.
We got 140 sessions in the last campaign, so
is that?
It might be 2%. I can't do math, so
I'm not gonna try right now.
Chat, do the math for us. We can't do math here.
Yeah. What's 7 divided by 140? I'm waiting on you, chat.
Yeah. Well, 140. So it's 14. Moving the decimal, it would be 2%, wouldn't it?
Probably.
Because 7 times 2 is 14.
I'm just gonna say yes and move on.
Chat. Next question.
I'm right. Yeah.
You are totally right. How are you enjoying combat so far? Last fight, you got a bit into the red.
Okay, so here's the thing. I love the combat. I actually really do enjoy it, but I say that now knowing that I've never died. So it's one of those things where like I feel like I'm gonna love every combat encounter until I either just get my ass completely demolished and or killed. But who knows? I might even like it.
That thrill of the fight.
Yeah, I like the fighting. I think it's fun. I like the tactics of it. I did kind of get shot a couple times, but you know.
But you learned. You got cover that next time.
Oh yeah.
You noped yourself right out of there.
Oh yeah, because you know it would have been tactical stupidity if I would have just stayed out in the open, and that must be punished.
Yeah, or so the DM says. Next question, big one. Out of those big 6 stats, which one do you think is the most valuable? What one do you value the most? Strength, Dex, Constitution, Charisma, Wisdom, Intelligence. You haven't used a lot of them, but which one do you find?
I don't know. I haven't really put much perspective on what I think matters more. I guess it depends on the character. In Vulred's case, he would like to say it's his charisma, but we all know that that's not really what's actually happening.
You can value a bad score.
You know what? Let's value a bad score. It's fun.
Just because you got a -1 doesn't mean you don't get to talk. Last campaign, Bevo had a -2 in his charisma, and by God, could not get him to shut up.
Do I have a -1?
I think you're part of the -1 gang.
Are you sure? Look at me not even knowing or having my character sheet right now. No, my charisma is a +1.
Ooh.
Which is not what it should be. But it is. I have a +1 charisma, but you would never know. Have you ever talked to someone so stupid, but you just like them?
I am friends with Eric, yes. This is how I get to throw shit. This is supposed to be a safe space, so being able to throw shade at the DM is always an opportunity I will take. He will attack me.
He will.
Definitely. Finally. A challenge.
Challenge accepted. Just don't die.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to, I think, my last question. As the sole rookie in the party, how do you think things are going? What's your feel?
Hey, look, I'm not used to fantasy worlds and stuff. I feel like we're still kidnapping a kid. Like, this still feels weird to me. I mean, I get it, we're not, but like, you know, like if like this kid's mom died. I still think we don't know she died. Eric, bring her back as like the final villain. That'd be super cool. If it's just like, haha, she didn't really die. It's a ploy. I probably never mind.
She's gonna be a sea hag of the coast. She's waiting for her
Exactly.
child to return, and she'll abduct children until then.
Exactly. We actually caused a rift in the world by taking this child. Anyways, I think it's going good. I don't have any concern necessarily. I think I have a good feel on what everyone else in the party is kind of doing. I mean, obviously, I don't know what everyone's true backstory is or what they're trying to do, but I think everyone's done a good job at kind of communicating like where they're at. I think everyone's, I guess the word would be like believable. Like, I think everyone's kind of staying within realms of the craziness that they've created. Some more crazier than others, and I think it's going well.
Let's go with the stat before I hit the last question I saw from Discord. I had to do some recalculations because I accidentally added points to you that did not go there. Let's word this in a way that's harder for you. It's more fun that way. Listing from highest to lowest, we already know the stats of Gander and Gorbeck. They had 0.
Okay.
And Kayla was 6. So with the 3 remaining characters, who did the most damage to the least? Of Arthur, Vulred, and Izal.
Are we counting session 0?
In the last session.
Oh, last
We'll
session.
make it easier because
Okay, last session, I think I did the least. I got 2 hits. But no, then again, I know. Okay, I think it was Arthur got the most, is what I'm gonna go with. And then I'm not sure, cause I think you got second and then me third.
that is very close. I got first.
Okay. How off was I on that?
You got third after my recalculation because I did because during our break last time, I had added damage you took instead of damage you dealt to it, so your number was higher. So you had passed by Arthur, but in reality, I had 41 is all. Arthur had 31, and Vulred had 22 points of damage. Mizak did do quite a bit of damage and technically did do more than you with 27 points of damage and 2 kills because we're raising a murder child.
Okay, yeah, we've made it this far and have not even talked about Mizak.
Not a
Mizak's
single
the
Mizak.
shit.
He's a vicious
Like-
creature.
I don't care. That's great.
He's probably got like 4 hit points, by the way. He's got like nothing.
Yeah, but like mad respect right there. Like, your family got like assassinated in their home and now you're out for blood. Hell yeah, this is like a Machete movie.
Really making up for that fight that he didn't do much in that he was complaining about. But yeah,
We're gonna make a standalone film about Mizak, played by Danny Trejo.
it's just him and his spear and then the javelin I gave him.
Yes.
Let's go to the last question. We have a few more minutes. There's a question for both of us. We saw the quick slot homebrew rule come into play multiple times this session. I think it was only twice. How are you enjoying the version of the bonus action rule compared to the homebrew potion rules? How important do you think this will be late game? Now let me give you a little example of this because I know it's your first campaign. Typically, potions can only be taken as an action. So you have to use your action to take any potion at all. There is a few homebrew rules that other people use. Like I say, you can use a basic healing potion as a bonus action. Everything else is an action. Eric's campaign, you can use any one potion as a quick slot potion, which means you can use it as a bonus action, but you only get one per encounter, basically. So being able to pull any potion out instead of like a basic one is somewhat handy. My thoughts on that are, cool. Once we're able to get those really powerful potions that heal a lot more, that's probably going to be the one I put in that slot. But, I mean, I can use an action to heal. I don't care.
I mean, that just sounds like it's better for the players. So, yeah, great. Let's keep it up. Love the homebrew.
Yeah, the problem was that the enemy can use it too.
You know what? Then does it really matter? It's still an even playing field.
I just shrugged
shrugged
my shoulders, and I realized you can't see them.
But yeah, like that's a great question though. Like, if it's still a level playing field, I mean, I guess it still could matter because it could change like the pace of like how, you know, combat evolves. But I mean, if it was something like players can do this, but like opponents can't, then that'd be like, well, that's weird.
Same rule for like the criticals, even because the enemies crit the same rate we do, which is the danger with that.
Yeah, let's get rid of that part. Let's just
only players get a crit like that.
Yeah, we only want good things. We want to live. If we were running for presidency of DMing, it would be just all the good stuff for the players. You know, no enemies get crits.
Everyone gets one free revive.
Yes.
I like the idea that the bonus actions quick slot rule works for any one potion, because I got a lot of hit points. I don't need to heal. I'd like to have a potion that does something like cool as a bonus action. Although I also use my bonus action like every turn too, so
See, honestly, the best thing that's ever happened to D&D is the fact that I've never been a DM, because I'd be like, yeah, you know, we're gonna have homebrew rules where like you have to roll to determine if you can use that as a potion slot. Suck it. Like, it would be so chaotic that everyone would hate me and give up the campaign.
Your game's very confusing. Last question by Ari, friend of the show, player of the show, guest of the show. Who do you think will die first? This is the Deadpool question. Vulred's answer will add to the Deadpool.
See, I don't know. Like, I do feel kind of like, this is a weird question, because I do feel somewhat weird in like answering that, because we almost in a way kind of have control of that, like to a point, not like fully. So it's weird to like pick someone else and be like in a position where it's like, well, I said Arthur was gonna die and he's about to die, so fuck it, let's just let him die. So I'm gonna go with me, because I'm not gonna let myself die. So Vulred's gonna die first.
Ooh. If I had a serious answer, I'd say Caleb, because he keeps getting his ass in combat area.
He probably would. If we're going off like history,
he's always in combat range, like surrounded. That's gonna bite him in the ass real soon.
Could be fun.
Yeah. Anyway, that is all the time we have. 1 hour of fun, 1 hour of pleasure. Now we're finally done. Thank you, Raab. Thank you, Raab, for coming on to the show and answering these questions. We got through every question. I've never gone through every question. There's always been a few, but sometimes I skip them because they're not very good. Let's be honest. Most of them from Momo.
We had great questions today. Thank you, chat.
They're very active. Got to threaten Eric a few times. That was fun. Got to really dive into the mental state that is Vulred. When you look into the darkness stares back. If you haven't already, follow us on our Twitch. That way you can be notified when we go live and watch all of our videos live and enjoy our chat. Check out our YouTube, where all of our videos go on afterwards, about 2 days after. Right now, live on our YouTube, is the previous session from Tuesday. You can go there, watch it, like it, comment, subscribe, do all the cool fun stuff on YouTube. If you don't have a chance to watch us live, I recommend YouTube. It's a little bit easier because most people are on them anyway. Special guest Trevor making an appearance at the very end. So glad he'll be in the end credits that we don't show. And follow our Facebook for updates if we ever have any cancellations. If there's ever any issues, that's a good way to follow our Twitter. We also tweet out every once in a while about our schedule. And as a special note, next Tuesday, we will be doing our makeup session for Adjacent with Jace with Bevo before our session starts at 8 o'clock Tuesday. At 6 o'clock, we will have Adjacent with Jace with Bevo round 2 to Electric Boogaloo to get that shit right. It'll go live on Twitch, and I will edit the previous session with this current session. That way, it'll all be together in one extra long one. It's about 15 minutes extra, but that'll be fine. That'll show up on YouTube about the same
Extra
time.
thick.
A real thick session with Bevo on Tuesday. Get yourself a nice break afterwards, and then come watch our session on Adventures of Athoria, where we will finally be on a boat and figure out how that works. Thank you again, Raab, for showing up and really bringing down the house.
problem.
I am Jace, your host, and once again, thank you, everyone, for coming and watching the show, and goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Walking hand in hand on the ocean floor, down deep we wander. Louder we sing, no there is no cure in this together. I don't wanna tell you that it's not real. Nothing is a fairy tale. Everything about you is so unreal. It won't be pretty when it ends. Now how could I leave with your sweet love on me? Yeah, yeah. Something about you always makes it harder. When you got my lipstick on your white shirt collar. See you. Hearts and letters carved into the shore. We'll never grow old.